Once upon a time. Once upon a time, there was magic in this world. There were dragons and fairies and elves and little leprechauns. Have you ever seen a leprechaun? In Ireland, they say there are little men who dress all in green and who can do magic. And these are leprechauns. Leprechauns are extremely smart and cunning. It is very difficult to catch one, but if you catch them, they will grant you a wish. One day, Paddy was walking in a field near his home when he spotted a leprechaun walking through the long grass. Paddy crept silently up behind him and grabbed him around his waist. The leprechaun cried out and began to struggle, but Paddy held on tight. "Well, now, I seem to be caught," said the leprechaun. "But if you'll just be so kind as to let go, I'll be on my way." "Not likely," said Paddy. "Now that I have caught you, you have to do something magic for me before I let you go. That's what leprechauns do." "Ah, yes," said the leprechaun, stroking his whiskers. "I have a nice bag of gold here, but you must not look at it before you go home, or it will all turn into pebbles. Will that do?" "Ha ha, no thank you," said Paddy politely. "I have heard of that trick. It will all be pebbles anyway." "Oh dear," sighed the leprechaun. "I can see you are too clever for me. What do you want then, boy?" "A pony," said Paddy firmly. "A beautiful white pony. That's what I want." "Here goes then," said the leprechaun, snapping his fingers, and there in front of them stood a lovely little white pony. "Now will you let me go home?" Paddy patted his pony's nose. "I think I'll call you Magic," he murmured happily. "Magic and I will take you home," he told the leprechaun. "No need to trouble yourself," said the leprechaun. But Paddy was a really smart boy. He was already mounting his pony, still keeping a firm grip on the leprechaun. "Well, if you'll just set me down by that oak tree over there," the leprechaun said, "you will see my front door." He was not liking this at all. Paddy rode to the tree and knelt down in front of the hole under it. "I cannot see anything," he said. "This is just a rabbit burrow. This is not your house. Where do you live?" The leprechaun was getting very nervous now. He mopped his brow. "Don't you believe anything?" he asked crossly. "All right, boy. Walk around the other side of the tree." Paddy did that, and as he stooped to look at the burrow there, he heard sounds of a jig being played on a fiddle far below. Peering in, he saw lanterns flickering and tiny green men dancing. "I believe you now," he said to the leprechaun as he released him. "Thank you for magic." The leprechaun slipped quickly down the hole, and Paddy rode proudly home on his white pony. His mother came out of their cottage to meet him. She shook her head when Paddy told her how he came by the pony. "It's no good, son. Something bad will come of it. Those leprechauns are too tricky," she said. "Don't get too attached to the pony. It is a pity it's too late to take it to market before it changes into a frog or vanishes altogether." Paddy, however, was hopeful. He fed and watered Magic and tied him up in the little shed beside the cottage where the hens lived. "Good night, Magic," he said. "I hope you are still here in the morning." Next morning, Paddy rushed straight out to the shed in his pajamas without waiting to get dressed, without even brushing his teeth. He opened the door. His hands were trembling. And you know what he saw? Magic hadn't vanished altogether, but he'd shrunk somewhat and he'd lost all his lovely white hair. To put it quite plainly, Magic had turned into a little pink piglet. "It could be worse," said Paddy's mother. "At least if you sell him in the market, you can get some money for him." Paddy wasn't to be cheered up. He was furious. "I'll catch that slippery leprechaun again and make him give me my pony back," he shouted. When he was dressed, he took the little piglet to market and carried the money home to his mother and kept some for himself. After asking her, of course. He was a good boy like that. Then he went over to his neighbor, Farmer O'Reilly, and asked if he could hire his big brown horse for the morning in return for some money. Farmer O'Reilly agreed, so he led the mare to the tree where the leprechaun lived and tied it by the stream a few paces away. He knelt down and peered again into the hole. There were the little green men dancing down below. "Hey, leprechaun," he shouted. "Paddy Finnegan here. I would like to talk to you." One of the leprechauns popped up. He was very careful to keep out of Paddy's reach. "You'll be a little angry, I'm thinking," he said, grinning cheekily. "Well, you cannot win all the time." "Not at all," said Paddy. "That little pony you gave me turned overnight into a big, strong horse. I'm just on my way to the market to sell her, and I have stopped by to say thank you." The leprechaun's smile faded, and he looked puzzled. "That's very nice," he said doubtfully. "Don't you want to see?" asked Paddy. "There, she's tied by the stream." The leprechaun grinned again. "A nice try, boy," he said, "but I think it's a little piglet you've got over there." Just then Farmer O'Reilly's horse neighed. The leprechaun's smile vanished again, and he looked even more puzzled. "Well, perhaps I will just have a peep," he said nervously, and he wriggled out of the hole. Like a flash, Paddy grabbed him straight away. "Got you again," he shouted. "Now give me my pony back." The leprechaun groaned. "I will change your big brown horse back to a pony then," he said, about to snap his fingers. Paddy took hold of his hand. "Not so fast," he said. "That is Farmer O'Reilly's horse. I want my pony back, and no more tricks, or I will pour buckets and buckets and buckets of water into your hole and float every one of you out." The leprechaun could see Paddy meant it. He snapped his fingers, and there was Magic again, as beautiful as ever. "There you are now, and you've got the better of me this time. No mistake," he said. Paddy let the leprechaun go and mounted Magic. Then he rode back home happily, leading Farmer Riley's horse and humming a little song as he went. This time he was going to keep his magic pony. So there it is. So think about it. What wish will you ask for a leprechaun the next time you meet him? Good night. Sleep tight.